Welcome back, everyone, to some professional Starcraft 2 from Homestory Cup 19 in the playoffs. We have two of the best Zerg players, well, the best of the rest behind the king himself. But first, in the bottom right, the Polish Zerg from Europe. Biggest brain. I'm American, okay? I never learned my countries or my numbers. It's Elazer. I thought until I'd heard it pronounced out loud it was Elazer, because is his name just E-Laser? Is that just how you say it? Yes, apparently. Elazer. There you go. And in the top left, it is from TSG, which I can't for the life of me remember what that stands for, but it's Solar, one of the best Zergs in Korea. I went to his Twitter right now, still doesn't tell me. If somebody wants to fill me in, he really should get better about that branding, but that's why we're here. So really, triumphant gaming song. Are you joking? Wait, let me... Triumphant gaming song? No. No. Triumphant song gaming. Moving on. Okay. Interesting. Definitely a unique team name. Anyways, we got Zerg versus Zerg. I wasn't able to catch the matches live because I'm a vampire, which means essentially any live event in North America or Europe is not a great time for me to watch live, but that means I get to bring some fresh eyes into it. So Zerg versus Zerg is a matchup. If you don't really get into the nuts and bolts, the lings and banes, the upgrades, the timings, it can seem a little boring, a little coin flippy. But it really does come down to every mirror matchup is very technical. Like, when exactly do you expand? When those Reddit questions that are the most annoying clickbaity stuff become actually relevant. What exactly makes a 14-pool early hatch LINGS so good? What exactly makes going for 3 queens instead of 2? What exactly is the best supply to go for a third? These kind of questions that you're not actually looking for an answer, but here we are. We have a third base from both sides. So, third bases in Zerg versus Zerg are not a sign of macro play necessarily. They're a sign potentially of aggression, because larva is a resource that must be managed, and those who manage it better are almost always going to do better, of course. So, in this case, getting that third base up means you will have that additional larva earlier rather than later, and also having the hatchery finished or near finished by the time speed is finishing means it's less vulnerable to Zerglings. A lot of players, especially at the lower levels, will take their bases later because they're scared they'll get attacked. Whereas at the higher level players understand that the earlier you take it, the harder it is to attack it. Looks like we'll have an initial skirmish here. We have the give and take of Lings and Banes, both players up to 30 plus drones, so neither committing heavily into an attack. But you gotta get a few Lings, a few Banes, just to keep the other player honest. If they don't make any of the above, then suddenly you can get damage done with just a handful of Zerglings. So this is just posturing here. Handful of Lings out of Solar to start things off. That's going to be followed up by more drones behind. We shouldn't have any decisive moves here. Whoa, okay. All right. He gave it a little touch. He said, I don't like what I see, and he backed off before Elazer could do anything about it. A bit of a misstep that Elazer had an opportunity to take a significant Ling lead. This is all just trying to get Lings into the main, and this is great scouting info. He's going to see the lair. +1 attack, +1 ranged attack is on the way here for Solar. Solar. Okay. Thought he was going to wall himself in. Already getting the upgrade, and the aggressive defense by being on the other side of the map with a few more Lings cutting drones means that Elazer doesn't really have the opportunity to scout this. With that single Ling going to get in. Gonna go up to the main, see a lair on the way. It's almost impossible to deny committed scouting in this matchup, just because Lings are simply so fast, and there's very little anti-air for the Overlord, so even if you see them coming, doesn't mean you can stop. So both players know the other is going for a macro third. You won't see as much of the Lingbane aggression. This is a surprising amount of Lings, but not a dangerous one. You won't see as much at this level because both players respect each other enough to know if you commit to a Lingbane attack, you could just go up against a brick wall of defense. And if they're defending, they have queens, they have creep, they have high ground. They can get some more drones. So if you attack into someone who's going to defend competently, you're just going to be behind. Which is why you rarely see on the larger maps huge Lingbane exchanges like you might see in the Diamond League, because these players aren't terrible. +1 attack is finishing up for Solar. He's actually jump-started, well, slingshotted up to 63 drones. And he's feeling like maybe that was a little bit greedy, as Elazer already has a bunch coming across the map. He's got a Nidus network potentially to reinforce. It looks like Elazer's actually going to go for a 50-something drone all-in. The reinforcing Nidus has gained some popularity, especially in ZVZ lately. It is quicker to essentially teleport across the map than it is to walk, believe it or not. It does take a little bit more setting up, and it is an investment. Right now, Solar should have enough roaches to defend. The roach count is 21 for Elazer, but not all of them are going to be able to get across the map until this Nidus is done. Is that out of vision range? Solar just barely doesn't see it. And there will be a second when he panics when he hears the Nidus come out. Like, wait a second, what is this for? And then immediately realize, does Solar even pull back? He's looking around his screen, I'm sure, realizes it's just reinforcements. The queens are here. How did we get here so fast? Don't question it. It's a plot device. There's not enough time. We're gonna get canceled. Brenda, please. Still plenty of roaches at the front. The drone's coming out to buffer. He can't lose too many before losing an economic advantage. But now Solar has enough roaches. The drones serve their purpose. The queens on both sides fighting it out. But Elazer's queens are going to have to retreat to the Nidus. Looks like only one of them's going to make it. The attack is thrown back. Is there +2 attack on the way? No, but there is a Spire. A Spire, that next level of tech that makes it very difficult. Well, any attacks on the ground are going to require queens or hydras. This actually is such a good timing for the Spire, and Solar was able to hold near perfectly, only losing a handful of drones, keeping together most of his economy and a superior roach count. That means these mutas are almost going to blindside Elazer. Honestly, with the loss of several of those queens, this might be a GG muta situation. Sometimes the mutas just hit at the perfect timing, and there's just nothing to defend. There's no spores, there's no hydras, there's barely any queens. It's going to be incredibly difficult for Elazer to recover from any economic losses, let alone counterattack. 5, 6 spores on the way, taking it very seriously. He either felt it or saw it, or maybe a little bit of both. No comment. But one queen already going to be assassinated. A couple drones going with her. Is there a Hydra Den on the way? There is not. He knows that's a half measure. And the counter Nidus out of Solar. We're learning so much about ZVZ today. They've played enough against Protoss. They know how good Warp Gate is. Technically, Nidus is like Warp Gate with unlimited supply. Or at least more than 200. I don't know what the limit... I don't know how much supply can fit in a Nidus, because that little bar, you put 100 roaches, like 50 roaches in there, barely fills up. Like 1,000? We gotta get our best scientists on this. Anyways, Hydra's Den is most of the way done. If you look at the supply, Solar, 200, Elazer, 170. Nidus in the main, gonna be boxed out by the mutas, but guess what? Bait and switch, roaches and ravagers. The overlords were taken out. It doesn't matter. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. There are still a few roaches in the Nidus, but the main brunt of them is at the third. He's going to have them to reinforce. He's popping out roaches in the main. They're speeding out of the Nidus. There aren't enough to defend, and there aren't enough to block the attack. Elazer stretched far too thin. Solar, a masterclass. He will deal with the Nidus, but the third base is eviscerated. He can even reinforce with it. The supplies don't... Well, I mean, they kind of tell the story. But this is so many different flavors. But the one thing... No, I was about to say, Elazer has +2, and Solar does not. That's not true. Solar has +2 as well. 2 bases going down. Reinforcements popping out from the Nidus. The Minimalist Micro against the Corrosive Bile. These roaches are a little bit out of position, but Solar takes game number 1 with relative ease. Honestly, just very solid there. Nope. Solar with... That is why sometimes, against a player of Solar's caliber, doing a committed attack is risky. Like, all he has to do is build the same things a little bit later. He'll have a little bit more economy, a little bit more tech, a little bit more production, and you're not going to catch him out of position easily. Elazer, he was out of position at the end, but guess what? It can't be helped at that point. You just don't have enough roaches. Especially when the mutas have already forced you into spore crawlers. You had to spend money and economy on that. There's really no choice. Solar takes game 1. Best of 5, by the way, in case you're unable to read. Kairos Junction is actually the shortest rush distance of any map in the pool. I'm thinking about the pool for this relatively new season. I'm pretty sure that's still the case. Turbo Cruise might technically be shorter, but the inhibitor zones make it longer. The distance between one natural to the other, it feels like a larger map, but the facts don't care about your feelings. On this map, this is also why you'll see Protoss players send out probes so early, because it's almost guaranteed you'll get a hatch block. It is a very common pick for Terran, because tank pushes can get to your base so quickly, and just pushes in general. And Terran, of course, struggles the most with long distances because of the nature of their production. We do have a hatch first from both sides. No early pulls yet. Jimmy, please. Why are you not displaying my tooltips? How else am I gonna know what the things are called? Let me steal the observer cam from Homestory Cup, by the way. Shout out to Take TV. 19 Homestory Cups. I will use this time to say, you having a big event for Homestory Cup 20? Maybe in North America? I know some North Americans who'd be interested. Oh, it's in Berlin. Okay. Berlin. Wait, which one were they thinking about NA? Berlin is a little further. I will give you that. It's at a resort in Berlin, of course. I don't know what I expected. Believe it or not, going to Vegas was not going to be financially viable? No. Are you saying that moving an entire European event to one of the most, like, casino-oriented cities in North America didn't seem to be a financially sound decision? Who would have thought? Alright. The queens. Very coordinated. Synchronized overlord killing. They did let the lings by. I wasn't paying any attention. They're on the way. A drone gonna go down. A laser. Elaser's rushing +1 speed roaches. Solar, Solar, I struggle with this so much. Tell me. Teach me. Teach me, Solar Senpai. How do you defend this? I actually really struggle with this style. Maybe we can all learn something here today. +1 Carapace. He doesn't have a Roach Warren. Is he just going straight Lings? This is a rushed +1. Like, this isn't even a timing. This is 32 drones. The more standard all-in is 40 to 44 drones, which is essentially like full 2-base economy into a third. This is 32 drone rushed speed +1 all-in. Supposed to hit you hard and fast. But plenty of Lings on the way. +1. Solar realizing going pound for pound with someone who's already so far down this road is not a good idea. So here's the thing. +1 ranged attack means Roaches 2-shot Zerglings instead of 3. And Roaches don't attack particularly quick. Oh my god, the creep highway on the board! Ah! Could we... Why are we off-roading? Brenda! Why didn't we just take the Nidus like last time? Oh, I'm sorry, does the Nidus not run on Cairo's Junction? Whatever. The Lings get into the main. Kill Agrant. Okay, he gets a drone. Looking for 2. There's still a bunch of Roaches back at home. The Queens are on the way across, killing Overlords and providing a lot of support. Queens tank a lot of damage, especially at this relatively low supply stage of the game. Queens are just great units. Can we all agree on that? Queens are amazing. 3 Queens at the front. +1 Carapace is not done, but Elazer looks like he's gonna force the issue. There's 10 seconds on the clock here. Solar really trying to hold on until that point. Oh, the upgrades are so close. Every unit lost hurts. He gets up in the wall of Solar's design. Wait a second, a wrap around from all sides. +1 Carapace is done. The Roaches hold the line. The Queen's in the back with the transfuse. Roaches cutting through Zerglings, but there are just so many Zerglings. Some Ravagers at the back. More Roaches coming up. Speed is done. He's able to retreat to the back line. The Queen's holding him for now. Are there enough Roaches? It's actually super unclear. The +1 Carapace is definitely helping out. All the Queens are down for the count. And suddenly Solar looks like he's got a distinct advantage here. He holds. He held till the +1. Elazer didn't quite have the critical mass. Solar made the split-second decision to go for that Carapace upgrade, and it pays off just barely in time. Still not giving me like a very clear answer. So just perfectly time out everything with a great surround, good micro, and a slick counterattack, and you can just barely hold. Thanks, Solar. Very helpful. What about what can I do that involves more select all army hotkey? Behind this though, well, 3 bases of larva really put a lot of punch behind these Lings. He has the larva to continually produce. He's still banking money. Lings are quite cheap. But very little gas mining from Solar means that he's really focused on him. Is he going to try to break the wall? Yes, he is. He's going in. Corrosive Bile at the back. Queen going to tank it like a champ. Corrosive Bile, minimal micro again, but the Lings are slipping through. They're overwhelming everything. More reinforcements come out. Solar's trying to break the wall. I'm not sure about this. Those are +1 Roaches, and they're holding the line. The thing is, well, defensively, okay, but the reinforcements continue to pop out here for Elazer. Solar, he has 3 bases. He doesn't really have to press this issue. Corrosive Bile, oh, he slips out at the last second. He may have the momentum, though. He's trying to push through. The Roach Warren is targeted. There's nothing left without it. Does he even have speed? Elazer doesn't even have speed. These are the last Roaches, the final Roaches. There will be no more for at least a minute. He's building more Queens, Lings, looking for Corrosive Bile. The Queen just gonna take it for the team. Elazer, his last Roaches popping out. The Lings continue to stream forward. The inject's apparently on point. Back at home for Solar. He's just streaming across. GG. Solar takes it. He seesaws it back. It looked like he was pushing a little bit too hard. But he was pushing just hard enough. So the Carapace upgrade response. And remember, that was a committed, that was a rushed, I'd almost call it a cheese. I guess we can take a little bit of time to talk about the difference between a cheese and an all. A cheese is something that if it's scouted, loses a lot of its effectiveness, whereas an all-in doesn't lose nearly as much. A cheese is something that's like, I'd say, 30% plus less likely to work if it's scouted, whereas an all-in is usually less than that. But there, if you see the Overlord creep, if you see the queens coming across, if you see the drone count, which I believe Elazer did, the timing of the speed was ridiculously quick. So, as well as when you kill that first, when you commit 2 queens off of creep to kill that first Overlord, you are up to no good. Alright, at the very least, like, every Zerg player knows. The Lings get in, they get a full scout, they see the lair, and also, shenanigans are afoot. Because the only reason you do that is because you're trying to hide something. But it did not stay hidden, and that's why Solar's up 2-0. Game 3, Elazer got to take 3. Now it is EVZ. Alright. It is EVZ. Oh. I zoned out so much I didn't even recognize the 12 pool that was right in front of me. Okay, yeah, that's a 12 pool. So King's Cove, and this is specific to King's Cove. King's Cove is a map where you can evade the Overlords. In fact, the quickest pathing evades the standard Overlord pathing. Some maps, the ground path that is closest and most direct to your opponent's base, the ground path is covered by Ovies. But on this map, the ground path, actually, the quickest path goes outside the normal Overlord pathing. So if you're not specifically scouting that area, a drone pull or even just the initial Zerglings can get by, and you won't see them until possibly it's too late. Like right now, there are 8 Lings nearly done. The drones are on the way. Nope. Oh, give me. All right. And Solar is not gonna see it. With everything on the line, Elazer decides, well, what's my fallback strategy? Of course, it's a 12-pool drone pull. Why wouldn't it be? And none of it will be scouted. Solar did not send his Overlord out to scout for this. Even a drone coming down to do like a full macro transfer. Surprise. Yeah, this is not what you want to see. This was the most economic. He didn't scout for it, had no larva saved up, no chance to make spines. He's mined a bunch of gas, but not even enough for speed, so it's just a whole lot of nothing. He blindsided him. It's almost impossible to defend this in this scenario. No matter how perfect your drone micro, it doesn't counter more drones and more lings and spine crawlers. There was absolutely no warning. Yeah. He's even gonna bring a spine down the court. Oh no! Take me with you! Oh god. Alright. Go get him, Zergling.
You're the last one. Complete the mission.
I mean, I don't know what Solar expects to do from here. I guess technically. This is mostly just like, how many drones did you leave at home? Maybe. I don't. This is the equivalent of scanning your opponent's bases and then GGing. Except he didn't even do that. Well, a laser brings one back. He puts a point on the board. And on the right map, like, it is one of the most obvious maps to do that. But, that doesn't make it bad. There's a reason it's not obvious. Sometimes players, especially if they're winning, can get into autopilot. All right, we're going to do hatch first. We're going to get gas. We're going to get a pool. We're going to get Zergling speed. We're going to get Zerglings into their base. But no. He's going to get Zerglings into your base. Surprise. Goodbyes. Use your eyes. Because there are macro lies in this best of 5. Top right Elazer, bottom left Solar. Hatch first. We're back to the playbook. New Repugnancy is a bit of an odd map, as the direct pathing is almost never the one used to attack, like directly up the ramp. Whenever you have a high ground that looks kind of like this, if you get into a macro game, you're going around the sides, simply. These are not rocks to be taken down. You got to go down from the high ground ramp or up into another base. Most Zerg players will take the low ground. Especially, we'll talk about Zerg expansions for a moment. Now, this doesn't apply as much in ZVZ, but in Protoss versus Zerg and Terran versus Zerg, part of the reason you see players expand to a vertical base, like a base that puts in a vertical line as opposed to a triangle base here, I guess is the best way to call it, is because of the threat of drops and run-bys a lot of the time. One, this base is a little bit closer. It's vulnerable to pushes up a ramp and stuff like that. As well as if they have a Warp Prism or Medivacs, well, guess what? They can threaten your third. Oh, you defended your third, I'm going to the main. So when you do expand in this pattern, it gives you a bit more in the way of time, and it forces them to commit. Like, are you attacking the main or are you attacking the third? As opposed to, I'm attacking the third and main, potentially. A lot of players have different philosophies on that, but that's, in my experience, the prevailing one. Bane Nest. Looks like we are back to the 3-hatch playbook. Evo chamber quicker for Elazer this time. Well, it looks like he's going to build a few extra lings to skirmish with. Oh, in fact, both players adding on double digits. Oh. If they don't go above 30 drones is usually your number. If you go above 30 drones, you're kind of forced to play defensive. But Solar's at 29. Elazer's at 27, adding 1. And +1 attack. Oh, he's going for it. Elazer really going to gamble on this. So the difference between +1 melee attack and +1 carapace is +1 melee attack. You still die in one hit to banelings. +1 carapace, Zerglings don't. This means Elazer's going to have to rely on his micro and his ling control, because his banelings are still going to one-shot. This is for the lings themselves. Now, his Zerglings are going to be way more cost-effective, but still vulnerable to those same banelings. It comes down to control. The dance begins. The beautiful the knife fight in a telephone booth. Elazer's gonna bring a sharper knife, but he brought no armor. Banelings dancing forward. I mean, there's not much. We'll just have to see what hits. Trying to split off some Zerglings. Dangerous game on both sides. If he can pick off any of the queens, that's going to be super helpful. Zerglings on top of the Banes. One good trigger. This one's zoning out. It's kind of like a deadly force field. Zergling still streaming across. Solar's up by 10 drones right now. If he defends this cleanly, he's essentially got the economic lead he needs to just win the game outright. A handful of drones at this stage are more than enough. Roach Warren on the way. A couple more gases. No lair yet from either side. +1 melee attack about 20 seconds out for Elazer. First hits coming through. Banelings still defending here for Solar. You gotta be careful about stacking them up too much. You become vulnerable to the Banelings of your opponent. More Zerglings coming in. They find the queens. All the Banelings trigger. There's no Banelings to protect the queens right now. Another one coming down. Elazer gets hit. But +1 melee attack. Not even done yet. Elazer's still taking a good exchange. Another Baneling coming through. If there are no more Banes, he's not going to be able to survive with only Lings. He doesn't have the numbers. +1 melee attack does make the difference. The hatchery is halfway done. The Zergling count isn't there. He might be able to dive on some of these Banelings. He knows the timing, or he should know the timing. Not quite in time to target him down. He's going for the third base. 4 more Banelings on the way up. Solar going to try to defend. He has a couple more queens to help target. The Banelings do a lot of damage to buildings as well. Elazer, big hit onto his Lings, but more are going to close in. Targeting down so far, but not doing a perfect job. Tries to exchange. Solar zoning out. Down goes another queen. Banelings going into the mineral line, looking for an opportunity. Solar, not incredible splits. 5 drones go down, and suddenly Solar 30 to 28 drones, and if he loses the third base, even more Zerglings getting through. The defense has been cracked open. Only a single queen remains. Where even is it? Where is the queen? Oh, it's over here. What are you doing over there? 9 drones now. A few Lings slipped through, and without +1, they kill drones so much quicker. The defenses did not hold. Elazer now has an extra hatchery. Well, I'm assuming this goes down. He has an extra upgrade. He has the economic lead. Slow roaches aren't going to solve the problem. They have no upgrades themselves. The Lings will rip right through them. They don't have enough of their friends to hide behind. More Banelings coming up, but more roaches targeted down. Another round of Zerglings coming through the front. 5 roaches are all that's left. He's trying to get on top of it. Targets down a Baneling easily in time. Banelings just running past. They don't even care about your silly roaches. He can't afford any more hits, but that doesn't matter. 4 more drones go down. The Zerglings stream through the center. Solar taps it out. 2 to 2. This is what Elazer has always been known for. He's not a longer-term macro Zerg. That's not said derogatorily. That's his timings are sharp. In every match, he'll find his timing and he'll hit it, and a lot of the times he'll push through. There, a few more Lings, 1 or 2 Bane connections either way, Solar defense. But those Zerglings, once again, knife fight in a phone booth. You land a hit, and then suddenly they're crippled. So, the last match will be on an interesting one. Turbo Cruise 84 with the inhibitor zones, the slow zones. All tied up. Elazer taking 10 minutes to tie up this series. And not even the least bit afraid to go all in. In every sense of the word. So Turbo Cruise has the inhibitor zones, which slow down the movement of all units, including air, by 35%, including 1 Queens off creep. Legend has it that Queens off creep go backwards in the slow zones, but we can't confirm that. Buildings that are flying and buildings that are walking, of both varieties. Looks like we're gonna go hatch first. It also means it's a little bit harder to do committed Zergling attacks because there are places you can get caught. There's a lot of interesting fights that happen just outside, because if you have ranged units, you can really abuse the slowness of units coming through. But you gotta be careful about chasing through yourself. We're going to take this time. So, it took me this long to finally learn, instead of at the end of the video or at the end of the cast, after the last game, and this will be the last game, to beg for likes and subscribes, you do it during the game. Because people are like, well, I just want to see what happens. Well, guess what? One of these amazing Zerg players is going to win. One is going to lose. But since nobody's going to be making units for at least 30 more seconds, you have plenty of time to smash that like button like a baneling smashes into a near infinite amount of Zerg land. Or leave a comment like, I'm just here because Winter's begging for likes like a Minecraft YouTuber. But guess what? It's 2019, and we all value ourselves by the engagement of social media. Thank you for your service. And if you happen to be watching this live as we multitask so well, give me a kappa in the chat. Interesting. Looks like Elazer's gonna go for the high ground base. And Solar for the low ground. Now, I don't have an explanation for you. I don't know why. I guess that's just personal choice. Also, well, no. They both see it. They both keeping each other honest with Overlords. That's the thing. You can see everything. That doesn't mean you can stop it. Mirror matchups, oftentimes, ZVZ more than any of the others, because you just don't have a way to kill Overlords early on. They're gonna see what you're coming out with. And you just have to... essentially, most of your cards are on the table. There are only a couple you can hide. Looks like Solar is hiding some. He's got Zerglings streaming across. Gonna go right through the slow zones down the center. The Baneling Nest was a little slower for a laser, but not slow enough. Whoa, I like that little tucked-in location by the refinery there. One Baneling getting triggered. Oh! The laser not getting his extra safety Bane. Another Baneling on the Queens. The Queens, a very integral part of this defense. That's really the only defensive advantage you have in ZVZ early on, are the Queens, because the Queens can target down Banes. They tank a lot of damage. If you don't have them, as Solar learned last game, you don't have much. Lair on the way. Solar actually is ahead in workers, as is oftentimes. It's kind of a give and take when it comes to the worker counts. Solar should be going for his lair right now. 3, 2... Wait, what? Why are you making so many bandings? He wants to defend. I'm surprised he's so committed to the defense. I guess he lost enough Zerglings and Elazer's been baited into making so many. Alright, everybody, let's slow it down. This is, Ooh. Okay. It's like watching the game on normal speed, as opposed to faster. Ooh. It's, like, it confuses my brain. Where's the lair, Solar? Show me the lair. What are you doing? What are you waiting for? Is he gonna go counter all in? Could you get any slower? The Sloverlord. It looks like Solar's going to go for a counter all in here. He's decided... Ooh, nice connection. He knows that at this point, his economy has been hamstrung so much by the actions he's taken and been forced to take. He's just gotta go. Elazer making some spines. He must hold. The roaches will take their time coming across, but they are coming. Oh, no! Okay. That is my commentary. So many Banelings. Spine crawlers at the third. Spine crawlers at the net. Elazer is taking this incredibly seriously. As well he should. He's got a Spire on the way behind. He doesn't have a Roach Warren. He needs just defense. The Queens are at the front. The Banelings not finding connections. He morphed them too close. They were countered already. Another Baneling finishes. Gets a nice connection, but suddenly these forces not looking nearly as strong. Solar trying to find an angle. But guess what? Elazer far too acutely aware of it. Banelings coming in the back. Looking for more. The roaches are still scary, but they don't have upgrades. They'll be softened up. Ravagers coming through, but Solar, where do you go? Where do you attack? Oh, that's fine. Crawler trying to dodge. More lings are coming through. The queens are holding the line. The transfuses keeping them together. So he has more time to micro against the banelings. Another round of banelings coming in. Just roaches and ravagers. A baneling connects, but it doesn't finish things off. The Zerglings will chase through the slow zone. Only ravagers remain, and that means nothing remains. He's on top of all the valuable units. And with it, down goes Solar. You're not, if you didn't break through with a dozen roaches and 3 ravagers, you're not breaking through with all these lings and banes. There are mutas on the way. I think 2 Gs will be the correct follow-up to these mutalisks showing themselves. Surprise and goodbyes. Yeah, one last shot. Does he target fire the banelings down with the mutas? Well, okay, that's a lot of Zerglings. Wait a second. The baneling's looking for an opportunity. We'll find it. I take it all back. No, I'm doing the caster thing. 10 drones go down. The queens are holding. The queens are holding. The queens are buying so much time for the mutalisks. There aren't that many lings here for a laser. Banelings coming through, but the mutas can't. No. The queens! Beautiful targeting! More drones are gonna fall. Solar's gonna try to do a transition. The problem is, the mutas are already on the field. If he was building the spire right now, if the mutas had just popped out, no. Even 12 drones dying does not put Solar in a very viable position economically, because his lair is only a third of the way done. What does he have? He has to just sit back on the defensive. Overlords are vulnerable. The Zerglings can wedge their way in between wherever the mutas aren't, well, or are covering. Another queen gonna go down. That's not enough queens. You can't be off the creep. You need a spore crawler. You don't got a spore crawler. Looks like Elazer lost a lot of his lings to a baneling, but does that matter? Is he actually gonna come back? It doesn't matter. That's the answer. It doesn't matter. I feel either Solar got too antsy, or he misjudged his position. 145 to 98 lings in 9 minutes. Over 230 lings died. That's a lot of lings. But this time, Elazer coming out on top. 3 games to 2. The Polish Zerg moves on. But like the first 2 games, Solar was like, yeah, this is how you play ZVZ. Please, when you learn how to play ZVZ, come back and try again. Elazer didn't learn how to play ZVZ. He decided we were playing a different game. And that was Ling on Roach. Did he even make roaches in the... What happened in the last game? I mean, no, he just didn't make roaches for like 3 games. Yeah, he's like, no, here's what you do. You just don't make roaches, alright? Roaches are bad units. And 3 games in a row, Elazer skipped the whole roach portion entirely, and he won 3 games. Now, do I recommend that strategy? I do not. I would not try that at home. Solar's strategy is probably more reliable to try at home. But for a Elazer, though, for a player of that caliber, you can make the lings work. They are a dangerous tool, but obviously they can work. So thank you to Teg TV and Homestory Cup for putting on the tournament. I'm sure I'll have more breakdowns, some first person and all that. You can find it all over YouTube, or if you're on Twitch, just stay tuned. Is this a rerun? Is it ever not? If you can't tell the difference, how do you know? So like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, buy my merch, hashtag Hashtag Lingfling. I don't know. So close. All right, cut it. Cut it. Cut it, Jimmy. We're done.